All right, everyone. I got some breaking news for you all. That's right. For the last few weeks, months, I don't know, years, whatever it is, the Snyder cult, the Snyder Bros, whatever you want to call them, has been sitting there saying, look, if Superman doesn't make X amount of money, if it doesn't do this, it's a massive failure. If it doesn't beat Man of Steel, it's a massive failure. If it can't do this, it's a massive failure. If we adjust it for inflation, Man of Steel that is, it makes X amount of money. Superman has to make that much money. It's a massive failure. Like, that's all they've been saying for weeks, months, years at this point, whatever it's been. And it's getting kind of ridiculous. We know, the fans, the DC fans, the fans who went and saw Superman, came out excited, happy that we went and saw it, happy with what James Gunn made. We know that it's a success. We know that they're excited that James Gunn, that DC Studios, that Warner Brothers is happy with what they've made and that they're going to continue on the DCU. So this video here, while it's going to kind of be a lot of information that, it's common sense. It's going to be dumbed down a bit for the Snyder Bros. It's going to be dumbed down so they can finally see and understand why this movie is, one, a success, two, why sitting there trying to compare it to Man of Steel makes no sense at this point. It literally, you're done. Just move on. Now, luckily for me, I got to sit down with a buddy of mine who talks about numbers. He deals with numbers all the time and deals with looking at numbers from the past when it comes to inflation, with where he works. And they sit there and it's not always just about inflation. It's not just about saying, well, the dollar has raised, has done this much in the last X number of years, so this is what we need to be making now. No, it's different. They have to take a look at the market as a whole. Why are we not doing that as a fan base, I should say, when it comes to the movies? Well, I've been trying to explain this for months and months and months, but nobody wants to understand that. So my buddy and I, we discussed it. He helped me. Look, I'm not the best math whiz out there. So he helped me, kind of punch these numbers together. And I was like, holy crap. It kind of just, boom, hit me. I was like, this is what I've been trying to say. This right here is what I've been trying to say. And I just didn't know how to say it with numbers. Now we have it. Now I can explain with numbers. And the Snyder Cult math, it's not going to matter anymore. All of you who are followers of my channel, who are excited about the DCU, if they try to come at you, you can just point them to this. You can say, look, your math isn't mathing anymore. Your math doesn't work. It doesn't, because it's pointless. All right? So let's get into it here. So I could go through this verbatim, but I'm not. You can go to SlavsFreeTalk.com. You can read this whole thing verbatim. That's why I put it here, so you guys can point people to this to show them, look, your math is not mathing. All right? So again, exactly what I just said. They love to try and say, adjusted for inflation, Man of Steel made X amount of money. So blah, 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 blah. The problem is they don't math properly. Let's look at the facts first. In 2013, the average comic book movie made $602 million globally. That was in 2013. In 2025, the number is down to $450 million box office globally. That is a 25.25% drop in box office performance for the genre as a whole. But Slav, what about Deadpool and Wolverine? I know, Deadpool and Wolverine made over $1 billion. Oh my gosh, it made a lot of money. Okay, I'm talking about averages. I'm not talking about the exception of the rule. I'm not talking about the one-off films that can do that from time to time. But we're talking about the average. The average. If you take a look at over the last couple of years, the average comic book movie makes $450 million. If you go back to 2023, it's less than that. So, again, $450 million, 25.25% drop since 2013. Okay? So, if we're going to be fair, we need to adjust Man of Steel's box office to today's climate. All right? So, here's the proof. This is from Statista.com. So, if you don't believe me, you can go look at Statista.com because this has the data right there. This isn't something I made up. This is the actual data. You can go look at it. This is not just made up. This is the real actual data right here. So let's do the math. Man of Steel made $670 million in 2013. Adjusted to today's standards, remember, the box office for comic book movies dropped 25.25%. That would be like making $501 million in 2025. Okay? So that would be $670 million times 0.7475 equals $501 million. Huh. But I thought, I could swear that everybody keeps saying, well, if you adjust it for inflation, Man of Steel makes it like $800 and $900 million. Well, we'll get to that. Don't worry, we'll get to that. What did Superman make so far? $506 million. And it's not done. It's still running rampant in the box office. It's still making well over $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million in the box office every single day. It's still making tons of money. Okay? So that right there, when you correlate Man of Steel to what today's actual box office would be, what it would make today in today's standard, it's only making a little over $500 million. That's all it would do. So in today's box office economy, Superman outperforms Man of Steel. That is not an opinion. That is cold, hard math. Guys, that's what it is. That's nothing you can spin. That's not anything that you could sit there and scream about on your Twitter threads, on your live streams, whatever it is. So let's talk about inflation, because I know a lot of you who are sitting there getting mad at me right now. That's not how it works. When we talk about normal inflation, the idea of normal inflation is to adjust for the value of money over time. Example, how much $1 in 2013 is worth in 2025 dollars. That is about economics and purchasing power, okay? But what we're doing here is not about money value. That's where all of you keep getting this wrong. This whole idea that Man of Steel would have made $890 million or $800 million or $900 million, whatever it is, in 2025, you're looking at it from purchasing power. You're missing the big thing, which is the market condition. Specifically, the market condition for comic book movies right now. And the average right now is $450 million box office total. That's what it is. So inflation says, if you go off your numbers, Man of Steel, $670 in 2013 would make $890 in 2025. That does not mean a superhero movie would make $890 million today, because the genre has declined. Again, I can't emphasize this anymore. I don't care what you say. The genre today is not what the genre was in 2013. You can sit there and say, Man of Steel, inflation and blah, blah, blah would make this, it made this much. But if you take Man of Steel and it's released today, Superman outperforms it. Full stop. Full stop. See, the real decline isn't the dollar. It's the audience. 2013 superhero films were on fire. There were big spectacles, crowded theaters, peak momentum with the MCU. The average comic book movie made $602 million plus. Today, it's $450 million or less. That's like a 25% audience shrink. So, inflation adjustment, here's an easy way to look at it. Inflation adjustment is how far does your dollar go? Market adjustment is how far does your movie go in this climate? That's an easy way to look at it. So Superman flew much, much further in far worse weather. Man of Steel in 2013 had blue skies, beautiful blue skies. It had no pushback, essentially. Superman, nobody's going to the theaters. Nobody cares about comic book movies like they did before. You see, that's the difference. You Snyder Bros, you people that want to sit there and act like Man of Steel is like this, the next coming of Christ, you're adjusting for cash when most of us are sitting here adjusting for reality. Reality Superman 2025 won. That's the whole cold hard truth, guys. That's pretty much it. If you want to, go check out the whole article. You can read more into it, understand it a little bit better. My buddy and I, we kind of wanted to make sure we could get it as like simplified as possible for everyone. But let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. I know people are going to come at me and say, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. But look, honestly, I'm not. You can't just simply adjust for inflation. I've been saying this for how long now? It's not just about inflation. It's about the market. The market plays a bigger role in everything than anything else. The market plays a bigger role. If you release Man of Steel today, it is not making $670 million. It's not. It's that simple. And I think it's the greatest superhero movie ever made. That's my opinion. And I don't think it's making that much money. Just because we can see what the market is. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you want to hear more from me, Slav. And follow me on all the socials too. But with all that said, guys, I'll catch you all later.